All right, the old F-150. She's getting old, she's starting to break. We're gonna fix it. So, what happened, let's see. Clayton opened the back window there, and you'll see it's still open. It will not close. So, we're gonna get to the bottom of this. All right, so you can see here, I got tools everywhere, no regulator on the wall, no wires. This thing's out of here. It's quite the task, so I'm gonna say I suggest watching the video all the way through. If not, skip to the end where I go over everything, because there's a lot of different choices and options you got to make here. But yeah, this video, watch it in the entirety, or at least watch the very ending while I wrap things up, because you're gonna have to make some choices in this bad boy. We don't know if it's the switch, the regulator, or the run channels, but the only way to find out is to get back here to know for sure. So step number one, you're gonna fold your seats up like this. Pretty sure everybody knows how to do that. You pull this little latch or whatever, it flips up. You want to take your headrests out. You squeeze this tab and this tab at the same time, and they'll slide up and come out. And then that leaves you where we are now. So what we're gonna do is these seats actually fold forward, but it's not easy. So I'm gonna stand up in here. If you look down here, I got a pry bar to try and get better leverage. That little tab I'm on right there has to be lifted all the way up. Is that the right tab? No, I'm sorry. It's a little higher. It's right here. This tab is lifted all the way up, they say, and that should release this puppy. So I'm gonna pry up on it, just like that. Once you get it free, then you come, keep pressure on it, come back over here. Now you got to pull that latch. Can you pull that latch for me while I hold this camera?
This latch?
Yeah, and then the whole thing should fall forward. Bam! Green eggs and ham. Now there was a rumor that the passenger seat actually folded down like normal, but it does not. It also has a latch on this 13 King Ranch. But so I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. This is the little rod that you're having to get on and pull up right there. So you get on that, pry it up, and you saw how easy, like, you'll know when it pops free. It was pretty obvious. So I'm gonna get that one, and then we'll get to getting this panel off. All right, here we are. Both back seats are down. So this side was supposed to be the easy side. There's definitely no strap on this 13 King Ranch coming out, and it's not mirrored. So this little pin you got to pull, I ended up doing this one with my finger, is pinned up against this wall on this side. So you got to reach in there and pull it up. But it did, once I got a hold of it, just popped right up and it's good to go. So now we need to get this little cardboard panel off, or carpeted panel off. So you got push pins. You're just going to go through and pull all these push pins out with your push pin removal tool. If you don't have one, I will put a link in the description, along with anything else you need for this project. At some point I'll pop the part up here in the video as well. But I do believe we got, let's see, this push pin, we got one here, got one where you're at, and I think there's got to be one at the bottom. Yeah, this one down here that goes through the plastic. We'll get this one's out too, just like that. So that should allow that to slide out. Yep, okay. Yeah, now we'll be able to work this thing out of here nice and easy, just like that. And we are headed in the right direction. All right, real quick, I wanted to point out, because this is the King Ranch with heated seats in the rear, this push pin on this cable was into this carpet, so I couldn't get it all the way free until I popped that one out as well on that wire. But now we're good to go. The rest of it was just the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 push pins total. All right, carpet's out. Just make sure you're careful and gentle while you wiggle it out. Go one way and then pull it out from the other. That side also has a heated seat push pin on the King Ranch model. But there we go, we are good to go. So this here, our friends, is the window regulator for the back window. So what we're going to do is we're going to unplug it down here where it's got electrical tapes around it, and get the voltmeter out and get him to key it up and hit the switch. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the positive and the negative on doesn't matter side, right? He'll hit the switch one direction and we should see 12 volts. When he hits the switch the other direction, the polarity should flop, so it should say negative 12. So let's see what happens. Okay, one more time. Nothing. Oh wait, I got 11 that way. You do the other way. I got negative 12 that way.
Okay, switch is working.
So the switch is working fine. So that shows us that the switch is working fine and the regulator is indeed our problem here. So I will put a regulator right up here in this video, and we are going to grab one and go ahead and install it real quick. Okie dokie. So, got a trim stick removal tool. The one little complication we're going to have here is that this wires, they run in both directions. Obviously, this one pulls it this way, that one pulls it that way, right? Run up behind this column panel here. So what you're going to have to do is you'll see this little plug cap up at the top. We got to get this bad boy out of here, and there should be a bolt behind it. So you use these little plastic trim sticks, or what they're called, because it's hard to damage plastic with plastic. See, I'm sliding all over it, but it's gonna be, these are in here pretty tight. So I'm gonna use 2 hands. I'm gonna get this worked under here and pop this off, and I'll show you whenever I get it out of there. There we go, we got it to pop right out. So if you look down in that hole, it looks like about a 7 or an 8 millimeter. I'll let you know here in just a second. So we can take that out, and then this panel, oh, sorry. We're gonna wanna get these little guards off. So you just stick it under here and just apply some pressure upwards, and then this little foot guard here will come right out. Let's get the weather strip out of it if we can. Hold on. So the weather strip is in here on the side. So slide that down like that. There we go. So that will give this enough room to move whenever we get the bolt out and we pull it forward. So let me get that shot out of there, then we'll get this to slide forward. My plan is to leave the seatbelt attached and just move this forward slightly so we can access where the cable routes. All right, the bolt was a 7 millimeter. So once you do that, once that's out, it was super easy. You just pull this panel in the inward direction. It'll pop free with these clips very easily, and then you just kind of move it forward. And you'll see with it positioned forward, we have access to the little clip that holds the wire, and then the wire runs up here. So we're gonna unclip that, and then we're gonna try and detach it from the window and do the same thing on that side. All right, so I pulled both cables loose. This side to go with the little clip on the side is another one up top that this sits down on a tab like that. So I just put my push pin tool down here and just wiggled it, and it just came right off. So I think it looks like this cable passes through this channel, and then the cable's held up there, and this channel is what holds the sheathing in place. So I'm going to unbolt the regulator now to see if I can access the cable on the other side to give it some slack, because it's really tight right now. You know, I don't think I can get it off of the window. So we got 3 8 millimeters holding this puppy on. So I'm gonna zippity zap those off, and then we'll see what happens. They were having some issues with this thing for sure on design. All right, so we got that off. Let's take a look at the back side here. Is there anywhere I can access this thing to like try to manually rotate it? Doesn't look like it. I could do that. You have a Torx bit with you by chance?
I can get one.
Yeah, get some Torxes. So we're gonna pull the actual motor off of this setup, and then that should allow me to push that window as I feel fit, because that's what should be holding it locked in position. So we'll take these 3 Torxes out. He's gonna grab a Torx, and then we'll check back. All right, so I got the 3 bolts out, so now let's see what happens. Take this puppy off of there. There we go. There we go. That's fine.
Bolts are running.
Here's our wire coily doodad or majagger. So looks like maybe I have to unscrew this, question mark. How do we? Yeah, this should just pull now. Push that window.
Push it?
Yeah, push it. From the inside, my dude. Is it moving? Oh yeah. Look at it.
Beautiful.
Now, this will have it closed, which is good for weatherproofing and events, because we are going to order this puppy online. It's not quite closed yet, but there it goes.
Oh, nice.
Perfect. Sealed up, keeps critters out, and will keep us weatherproofed while we wait on the new motor to come in. But now we just got to get these wires off right here on both sides, and then we're ready to install the new one when it shows up. Whoops. Yeah, so let me figure out how to get these off. I'll show you how to do that, and then we are at the end of the road. Also, I will note that this is a good way of doing this, but if you live in a place where there's a lot of thieves abound, you can just push that open from the bedside. So, you know, do that at your own risk.
All right, so what we're doing here
is we need to get to that screw right there, but there's no hole. So I got this, and I'm just drilling a small hole, trying to get real close to it, and then we're gonna hit it again with a slightly bigger bit so we can get in there and get that screw out. Let's see, so we're just gonna kind of eyeball it and go from there. It looks kind of good.
A few moments later.
All right, I have no idea what Clayton said previously, but he totally botched it on the hole drill. And then we botched it a second time. By we, I mean I. And it's not quite big enough for that screw to come out. So I'm going to screw that screw back in. I'm going to use my handy dandy wallower tool. I have no idea what this is actually called, so if you know, say it in the comments. I call it a wallower. We actually call every single thing that's an air power tool in this shape a die grinder, even though there's 15 different things. So yeah, there's that. I'm gonna wallow these holes out so we can get these screws out. What a silly, stupid thing to do by Ford. But once we get these screws out, we can get these cables out, no problem. So you have to make these holes however you deem fit. If you're better with a drill than us, you just drill right at it and don't hit the screw head. What we're gonna do is use a pilot hole, use this drill hole as a pilot hole, and then wallow it out to be even bigger. You don't have to worry about anything structural on this little body seam here. There's enough meat all the way down that you could cut that whole square out if you wanted to. But yeah, here we go. Oh man, all right, that ridiculous is done. I ended up U-shaping this side up with the wallower because it was high and tight, but we only nicked the plastic right there, so that's good. All right, now I think in theory this has to be pushed outwards on the cab from the inside, and it should dislodge and then pop up. So we're gonna try that real quick. Maybe I can leave you over here to see, maybe you can't. I'm gonna use the Phillips first and see how this works. Oh yeah. Okay, that's the move. I'm gonna use a Phillips to push and a flathead to lift on the other side. So I'll put this flathead in right here. That definitely moves it easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Oh, definitely don't break the glass while you're doing it. Yeah. Why is it not out? There it goes. Ha ha! There's one. Now the other side is the exact same concept. You push towards the outside of the cab and it will slide up. Once you have this part loose, I'll show you how to get it out on that side where it's easier to see. All right, so here you are. So once you get this out, you have the slack. You just put it up. It should pull right through that hole just like that. So see, that came right out of that hole right there. Once the line was vertical, and you are free. Holy guacamole. So now when we get the new one in, you just drop that in, pull it tight, pull it all the way back, press that side down in, lock it in place, shoot your screw, and then the easy part, just run it back down, bolt it up, plug it in, and you're done. Whew. So, what did we learn here today? So first things first, if your beer window functioning is not that important to you, what you can do if it's stuck open is everything we did here, except minus disconnecting these cables. Pull your motor off of your winder, move the window to closed, and then stab it back on. Put it back together, and it'll be just as good as any other time. That window can't be moved from the outside because that will be stuck. It can't even be moved from the inside of power. So if you don't want to use it and you want an easy fix to just close it, there's your answer. If you want to do this without drilling the holes and getting the cables out, and you want to run the risk of those cables breaking in the future, that's fine. It won't cause any extra work. So you can pull the motor off like this, stab the new motor onto the old winding. As long as all this checks out and is unbroken, then you don't have to drill these holes and do all that nonsense. So it's kind of whatever you want to do. In this case, we're just replacing the whole thing because why not? Got to do it. We like the beer window. The beer window's good.